vocabulary learners. There we go. All right, just a little bit about me. I am a nationally board certified teacher, and I'm working on national board certification again. I've been a high school English teacher for 13 years, and I'm currently my high school's librarian, working closely with English teachers and still teaching a bit. And then I love vocabulary, so I am Vocab Gal, and I have a weekly blog that we'll share with you just in a minute. I am right now the almost past president of Octella's MCTE, so Octella as it's called, and then I like to go and present places. Laura, anything else to add?
I'm just excited that you're here. Today, Sarah will be sharing with us some games, vocabulary games and activities to help you use and motivate in your classroom so that the students in your classroom will feel comfortable learning new words. So thank you, Sarah, and welcome.
Thanks. So let's get started. We don't have too much time, and I want to make sure you know where to go. First, literally, as you can see in my cursor, www.vocabgal.com. It's as easy as it gets, hopefully. And then what I love is right up here at the top, you'll see VocabGal, but then if you click under resources, all of the resources will be listed for you in sort of a spreadsheet form, kind of, so that you can click on the resources that I talk about, just right here in blue, and then you can get each resource, and it will be very easy for you to see exactly what you're getting based on the ones that I talk about right now. So, and then if you want to separate by just games, you can also come here to games. It's also separated out here. There's writing activities. We have a word of the week that's an SAT, ACT word that comes from the vocabulary books, so that's exciting. I also have lots of author interviews, and these are YouTube videos with all kinds of great authors, including John Green and Veronica Ross and James Dashner, and I ask them specifically, why is it important to learn words? So when my students say, oh, Ms. Ressler, why do we have to do this? I say, well, let me have John Green tell you why you have to do this, not me. And so that tends to work pretty well. And then we have seasonal activities as well as other teaching strategies. And again, you can please tweet me, and feel free to tweet during this webinar. I love to hear from people that way as well. I'm on Facebook. I have lots of great Pinterest boards. We Are Teachers featured great Pinterest boards on me. Obviously YouTube for the videos, and then Google+. So that's where you can find me, lots of different places. Please reach out, ask me questions. How does this work specifically in my classroom? And I'm happy to help. So we need to have a goal for today, and that is literally so that you have a working knowledge of engaging strategies for activities and games to share with students. I want you to walk away with things you can use tomorrow, because as a teacher, it's important to get things that are practical and realistic and usable in your classroom. So the sort of my philosophy and focus for vocabulary for all these games and activities is based on William Nagy, who's one of the big gurus of vocabulary instruction. And William Nagy basically says the 3 principles of vocabulary instruction that work are, number 1, you integrate it into what you're already doing. So you're saying words out loud. Anytime a kid comes into my room and they don't have a pencil, I say, oh, so tragic, are you bereft of a pencil? Are you bereft of paper? And so it just gets integrated into what we're doing, not just 1 minute we do vocabulary, the next minute we do writing, and never the twain shall meet. Second is reiteration. And so, like I said before, I say bereft every single day. And so my sophomores at the end of the year, they know what bereft means. And they think that it's very stupid of seniors not to know what the word bereft means. So making those big, scary words more relevant to them, as well as just saying them over and over again, makes them appealing. So then I was talking about relevance, and the games and activities we play will help make the words relevant to students. They're not just this archaic thing that their teachers are asking them to learn, but they're relevant and practical in real life. So my first game is sort of the classic that lots of people go to on the website, and it's really my absolute favorite. I modified apples to apples, and I just decided one day, hey, those green cards that you see, instead of using the green cards that come with the apples to apples kit, I had my kids make their own. And so you can see, because apples to apples is trademarked, we say oranges to oranges in VocabGal land, and you can just go to the resources page, games, apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and you can get these templates to have the kids write out the words themselves. And so you can see our vocabulary word adulterated. They have to write down adulterated, and then they write down synonyms that go with it. And so what I literally do is I say, okay, Johnny, you've got Unit 1, words 1 through 10. Here's a template, fill it out, go. All right, Susie, you got Unit 1, words 11 through 20. Here's your template, go. And I assign each kid, you can do it 5 words, you can do 10 words, and that in and of itself is a vocabulary activity because they have to think, okay, what's my vocab word? All right, now I have to find some synonyms. What would be the best synonyms to describe this word? So they're thinking about the word as they play. And then, how do you play it? You still use the red apples to apples cards. If you don't have a set, you can find one at Goodwill. They're at Target. You can ask someone to bring in a set if that works. And then again, you substitute the vocabulary orange cards that your kids have made for the green cards. There are directions in apples to apples. I'm not going to go through those directions with you. I didn't really know how to play necessarily always when I gave it to my kids. They inevitably would figure out how to play. There is a direction called apple turnover style, which means that each student has their red card and they have to say it out loud and justify it. And so if the vocab word you can see here is adulterated, that we all have to play on, and Johnny's red card he puts down and he said, okay, my word, or my red card is Elvis. And I think that Elvis was adulterated at the end of his life by too many influences, and he just went down so much that he ended up dying before his time, and that's why he was adulterated. And then Susie says, okay, well, my word is airplanes. And I think airplanes have been adulterated over the years. They're not as fancy as they used to be. And so if every kid has to use the word adulterated in their justification, and we have to say adulterated about 10 times, we have integrated that word into what we're doing. We have reiterated that word, and we've made it relevant to pop culture in America. So the traditional way works well. Apple turnover style works well as well. You can also play lots of different alternative styles. So the directions are in there. I encourage you to play with your students on a day that it's a little nutty. There's a pep rally. One class is longer than another. This is sort of my go-to activity where I can say, look, we're learning a lot of vocabulary. They're practicing and studying for their tests, but we're also having a lot of fun. Similarly, I thought, well, hey, I think you can do the same thing for Taboo. And so, again, you ask the kids to make cards. Now, if you wanted to play with your apples-to-apples cards, that would work too. Or if you want to make your Taboo/banned words cards first, you can use those for your apples-to-apples game as well. And essentially, it's similar and different that you make your cards, and then you count off, you get groups of 10, and kids are A, B, A, B, A, B. And then each student, if he's the A student, has 1 minute, 2 minutes to convince all the other students of what the vocabulary word is. But in this case, this is why it's called banned words. He can't say any of the words listed below. So I'm trying to explain to my other A colleagues, okay, this word, it means that you're not mean, and it means that you're helpful, but I can't say friends, I can't say friendly, I can't say kind, or personable, amiable, and so you're trying to get the kids who are on your team to say the word affable, and then you can move on to the next words. Again, look up the directions to Taboo online, and your kids will probably know how to play, and so have one kid in each group who knows how to play banned words. Again, it's a lot of fun, and the kids are learning a whole lot, making the cards as well as playing the game, and then they don't actually have to study so much because they've played a game to study. Sometimes, I will tell you this, in my room, I ask the kids, and I have half my room playing banned words and half my room playing oranges to oranges. So you can play it a lot of different ways, and not everybody has to be doing the same thing. The third game I want to talk about is Picabulary, and it's a little hard to say, but essentially it's my version of Pictionary, in that basically, like the rules say, you divide your class into teams, up to you on how many teams you have, and then each team selects an artist for that round. And so then that round, I say, okay, who are your artists? All the artists come up to me, and I whisper very quietly what the vocabulary word is. Then they go back to their team, and essentially the artists try to draw the vocabulary word They can't use numbers. They can't use letters. And then essentially you could say that whichever team out of the 4 shouts out the word first wins, or if every team in under a minute gets the word, then they get a point. You can play it a lot of different ways. But the goal is that each time for each round a new artist is picked, so every kid has an opportunity to draw to the rest of his group. And again, you can even divvy up, if you've got groups of 10, you could have 5 kids in the group of 10 be on the A team, and 5 kids in the group of 10 be on the B team. And then from there, you go A, B, back and forth as well. So each group of 10 has their own 2 teams. Totally up to you. Again, it's a fun way to review vocabulary, to have every kid engaged, and really to hammer in those words until they get it. Again, if you have questions about any of these, please jot it down in the questions. We'll take them at the end. And I'm also happy if you would rather email me and ask me specific questions. I'm happy to chat with you that way as well. Okay, so we're also going to talk about 3 awesome activities. So my first activity is one that I came up with. You'll see my photo. We rented a Buick Enclave. One time we were on vacation, and I was so excited because Enclave is one of my favorite vocabulary words. And I thought, well, why doesn't every kid create their own car using vocabulary? So they have to create a car name that includes a vocabulary word, and then they have to describe it using more vocabulary words. So you can see here the Toyota Indomitable, making you the master of the road. And then they have to read out loud to the class, or just write up if you don't have enough time their little description, their advertisement, that voiceover. The road has many hazards, chaotic road work, careless drivers, etc. What better way to assert yourself as undefeatable on the battleground of the highway than in a Toyota Indomitable? In an Indomitable, you can feel superior. Again, here's our definition of Indomitable. With 8 airbags, 2 extra large metal bumpers, bulletproof tinted windows, a stainless steel caterwall air horn, colossal rotating tires. So really they get to soup up a car and use their vocab to do it. All right, so that's create a car. Another one of my favorite things to do is under the seasons. And so you can see here that we have our vocabulary Valentines. And although it's past Valentine's Day, you could still do this when you need a little fun. You can download this template, and then you can hang them up wherever. So basically, each kid writes a vocabulary Valentine. These are 2 of my favorites from my AP seniors. Folderol means foolishness. And so Alex wrote, Folderol, you confuse me, you bewilder me so, but I appreciate the nonsense more than you know. Oh, Folderol, tell me how a raven's like a desk. You're the only answer on my philosophy test. So he just makes me laugh because Folderol foolishness, here's a lovely definition of it as well as a Valentine, why we love the word. I also wanted to point out right here, this is my template for the Create a Car. And so if your kids say, I can't draw, they can just write their description above it with their title, and then soup this up as they want to, put little arrows next to each description. Or if the kid's a great artist, this really works well for your lower level boy who doesn't really want to engage with much. Say, okay, draw me a great car, draw me your car, and then label it accordingly. All right, so my third game, I don't know, you 6th through 12th graders, I didn't have a lot of dice in my classroom. But when I ask elementary teachers, they definitely have a lot of dice or die in their classroom. If you don't have die, you can get a free app on your phone. If you just look up dice. And then essentially, and there's also lots of extensions on Chrome, or if you're on the internet, they'll roll die or dice for you. So basically, you have kids either individually, in partners, in groups, roll a die or dice. Okay? So whatever number they get, then I have this great template that you can just print out and say, okay, so all right, our first word, everybody, is approbation. All right, so Johnny rolled a 2. So now, Johnny, you have to list 2 synonyms for the word approbation. So Johnny lists his 2 synonyms. Approbation, I think we'll go for praise. I think we'll go being nice. Not quite. How about being rewarding or deserving? Maybe deserving is a good synonym. So then Susie rolls the dice. And whatever Susie gets, she has to use approbation. Let's say she rolls a 5, connect the word to another word. All right, so approbation is like meritorious because when you do something meritorious, you earn approbation. All right, then the next kid in the team, if you're doing a group of 4 or 5, rolls a dice and he gets a 1. And so then he has to use approbation for that reason. So you can have it in groups, or you can go back and forth with partners. One partner rolls, that's what they have to do with the word. Other partner rolls, that's what they have to do with the word. Then you can move on to another word. So in this case, I have lots of templates. And so you can do 2 die, and then we can roll a 7. Make an excuse for not doing your homework using a vocabulary word. So here you see a list of vocabulary words. And if you want to go around in a team and the first kid uses approbation, the second kid uses coalition, the third kid uses elicit, you don't have to use the same word every time. You can use different vocabulary words depending on the student. So again, you can use one vocabulary word 5, 6, 7 times, really reiterate it until the point that they know it. Or you can have a list of 10 words and go around so that each kid has to use several different words through several rounds. Up to you, however you want to play. You're on a roll, getting them to learn their vocabulary with some dice rolling. It should be a lot of fun. Okay, and then that's the template for Valentines. I don't know why that's there again, sorry. And then finally, our last activity is coming up really very quickly. That's why I threw it in here, for vocabulary and St. Patrick's Day. And so what I wanted to do basically was show you here, this is a great example that you have 2 options, and the template actually tells you what to do. When my team became indomitable in the last inning, we made it to the district tournament, lucky. So that's one option. How were you lucky? Describe it with a vocabulary word. Your other option, if you had a pot of gold, what would you do with it? Use at least one vocabulary word to describe it. If I had a pot of gold, I would become a supercilious megalomaniac and force everyone to revere me as a demagogue. That kid's getting creative. This is what would happen if I got a pot of gold. And so hand these out on St. Patrick's Day. Okay, guys, you've got 2, 3, 5 minutes. Write it down, and then we'll share a couple examples, share in your group. Just a fun little, hey, it's St. Patrick's Day, but we're still going to learn vocabulary. We're going to make it together, and we're going to have some fun. The whole reason I did it was because I had a middle school teacher who emailed me and said, Ms. Ressler, I loved your vocabulary Valentines activity so much that I started my own for St. Patrick's Day, and then I sort of took off on her idea. So thank you, Becky. This is her door that she shared a picture with me. So woo, good times with vocabulary. So finally, again, we're doing well on time. So I wanted to point out a couple of the awesome authors that I've accosted and interviewed, that if you just go to my YouTube channel, Vocab Gal on YouTube, you get a great video that's 2 or 3 minutes saying, hey, this is why you need to learn vocabulary. This is how it will help you with your writing. This is why writing is important. So I show those every Monday, and then I have my kids jot down, okay, what did you get out of James Dashner's ideas? How will you use vocabulary now? And then every week we watch a different interview, and they can learn both what their favorite authors like and why they think vocabulary is important, and then maybe even learn some new authors that they want to read as well. So again, the activities and the games I've shared with you, the goal is that you integrate them into your classroom. You reiterate the words a whole lot of times by saying them out loud as you have to play a game over and over again, or you're rolling a die and you're having to use those words. And then they become relevant because the kids are using them to talk about pop culture, to talk about any excuses for why they didn't do homework, and really making them a part of their own lexicon. So, and then you say, Ms. Ressler, really, can I justify using games and activities? And there's a lot of research that says, yes, you can. And so here, 2 great researchers said that active engagement is a really important part of vocabulary instruction. So they have to learn the meanings and then having to learn strategies to become independent word learners. So yes, it is great. Research will back you up that they're going to learn when you play games and do different activities. So again, how do you get all the activities I just talked about? Literally, vocabgal.com, and then go to this button for resources, and you'll find it right there. That's all you have to do. Just go to resources, and then it'll give you the options to check down. So what I'd like to do now is take some questions about specific activities and other things. So Laura, how should I answer?
Okay, so thank you so much. I just want to thank you first, Sarah, because all your ideas are just exciting. I mean, it really does make a difference when kids are excited about learning new words. And as teachers, we know we can see the reward when we see it in their vocabulary, their oral vocabulary, as well as their written vocabulary. So thanks so much for these ideas. And to everyone on the phone, as Sarah has said, if you go to vocabgal.com, you can see the resources there. All of these ideas are written there, or they are posted there, that you can download free of charge. So we do have a couple of questions, Sarah. There's one question that goes back to create a car, your activity. How would you create a car with a noun or a verb that's in your vocabulary list?
Well, and I think it really will work with anything. So in case the kid says, okay, I want to use approbation, the Toyota Approbation, just like the Buick Enclave. And so you can say, this is a car that will bring attention to you. You are the #1 superstar. And so it only comes out in gold with leather seats trimmed in silver. And so really, I think that you can use any words you want. It's just how they create the description.
Sure, sure. And Sarah, there's a question here on the vocabulary series that you use. I know that everyone probably knows you use Vocabulary Workshop from Sadler. But what grade levels do you think that these activities are best for?
Good question. So essentially, this webinar is focused on 6th through 12th graders, but a lot of the activities we have also modified for 1st through 5th grade as well. So when you come to the resources, you'll see, and also here in the games and the writing with vocabulary, you can select K through 5 or 6 through 12. And really, I find that even sort of a lower level, you would think of activity like create a car, works great for a high school senior who has sort of checked out and said, Ms. Ressler, really? So no, you want to make your own car? Go for it. And even coloring pages. And there's lots of activities that will really work. It's just your level of vocabulary that you're using with them. The activity that you're asking them to do really will push them to learn those vocabulary words, high-level words or low-level words, depending on your grade level.
I also want to mention that on March 17th, Sarah will be giving another webinar for the grade levels, vocabulary instruction for 1 through 5. So at that time, if you do know other teachers that are at the elementary level, she'll be going through some great ideas and share her ideas for that grade level as well. So just keep that in mind, and you can share that with others. So with that, those are the questions we have, Sarah. So again, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And we look forward to March 17th when you come back and you do some more sharing of ideas. For those of you that are on the phone, thank you for joining us. The webinar series will continue. If you do have any questions, you can contact us. Either you can go to VocabGal and tweet Sarah. She'll forward any questions about the webinar series to me. Or you could email me right away, or straight away, at Laura Egan. I'm sorry, my name is Laura Egan at legan@sadlier.com. So with that, Sarah, thanks again.
Thanks so much, and everyone have a great day. Thanks for being here late. And please, again, tweet me, Facebook me, contact me in any way that you want if you have further questions or ideas to share. So have a great afternoon, everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye now.